And here it is, almost 2025, and I'm just so happy and blessed to be here once again. And Henry, oh my God, what you've really expanded, and because I was one of your first guests in the first place.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad to be here. I'm into the frame now. You can see me. Yeah, you are. So let's talk about this, Rocky. So we're rolling really nice and slick. You can see us what we're doing right now. So we're on live. And so, yeah, it's been a while since you've been here. You were my first guest. This goes back, what, 8 years?
Yeah, I was the domino, the first domino.
And we talked about that, remember? You're going to
Yeah.
say, once I do this, it's going to continue on. We've done like 1,800 interviews.
Woo!
1,800
Since the first one.
since yours,
Yeah.
And it's like, God, Rocky, look what you've done. And look what you did to me, dude. I was all happy and everything. And you said, Henry, you're going to get it now.
Yeah. Well, you definitely got it, man. Oh my gosh. Here we are 8 years later, 2025. Oh my, jeez.
We were talking about that just before we went on live.
Yeah.
2025, it's like, whoa, could we ask for anything more? You know what I mean? It's like wild.
Yeah, especially because you look really healthy and blessed, and we're up there a little bit in our age right now.
Yeah.
That three-letter word kind of cut the age thing. But we're still here and enjoying life to the fullest. You, my friend, look at you. You're enjoying life to the fullest.
And that's right, because if we go way back, and we're going to talk about your times and everything about you, Rocky. For those who don't know who Rocky Duarte is, he used to play with the Freddie Henchy band. And
No, it's Freddie Henchy and the Soul Setters.
oh, that's right. Yes, I'm glad you made that.
Yeah,
very
because
clear.
the Freddie Henchy band was after the Soul
Soul
Setters.
Setters, yes.
And they actually went into the Colorado Hall of Fame as the Freddie Henchy band.
Yes.
But Freddie Henchy and the Soul Setters, I was with them from 1970 to 75.
And it worked out so well. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
trying to get that.
And so, yeah, oh my God, 70s, that's like prehistoric.
Are you dating us, dude?
But I was
prehistoric.
Prehistoric, yeah.
We're fossils?
They're fossils. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
But that was a really magical time frame for me but I was so young, man.
Mm-hmm.
When I joined Freddie and Henchy, I just turned 18.
I remember that, yes.
Just turned 18, and I have 5 years of experience prior to that. So that means I was playing 14, 15 years old. I was working in 3-2 bars and underage, getting in trouble. I remember when I was playing one time at the Sands in 16th and Glenarm, and I was 15 years old, and they walked in, the Vice Squad, and he said, "Let me see your ID." And I just looked at him, I reached in my pocket, and I handed him a napkin. He goes, "Off the stage, and the equipment." And so here we are, going, "Oh, wow." And the crowd is going, "Let the little kids play." But, that shows the age frame, So 15, 16, we had a band, the Elgins, with Zeke DeLeon.
Remember that? Yeah.
Yeah,
The Elgins,
Zeke made
yeah.
us really popular because everybody loves Zeke. He's
Yeah.
a wonderful singer and a great man. We're so happy to have known him. And, as time went on, at 17, I remember, I got offered a job for a band called Bobby D and the Soul Explosion.
Remember them? Yes.
Yeah, at the Bowl.
Yeah, at the Bowl on Broadway.
A Bowl on Broadway, and I was only 17, and I was ecstatic that I got that gig. But at the last minute, the guy at the Pussycat,
Pussycat a Go-Go.
Pussycat a Go, he goes, "You can't hire him, George, because he's only 17." So
You kept catching that along the way, right?
yeah, and all of a sudden they go, "Oh man, we can't hire you because you're only 17 years old." So I remember crying on my way home from the Bowl because I couldn't be in the Soul Explosion. But I was still going in and watching them. So, a couple of years, a year went by, and next thing you know, I'm still 17, and I'm playing at the Pussycat with Don Love and Brother Love. And Don Love was the guy who actually said, let's go to Boulder and go watch this new band called Freddie Henchy and the Soul Setters that just came to Colorado. And that's when I first got hip to them, you know. I was
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, let's go down there. So the Skunk Creek Inn was pretty magnificent.
I used to love going there for the drum. You guys used to play Wednesday through Saturday. Remember, it was the 5 nights where the
Yeah,
band
that was
played every night.
every night. And the Skunk Creek was, you know, it was college town. So it was really happening. I didn't see anything. Freddie and Henchy was, in the Soul Setters they were doing things that no one else was doing. You know?
Exactly, and they were the dance moves, the whole
Oh.
9 yards. You know, it's like a show band.
They were really entertaining, fantastic musicians, and as time went on, my friend Quills was in the band, and he's the one that got me hip to the fact that, hey, Freddie and Henchy and the Soul Setters just arrived, but they're needing a bass player.
Whoa, yes.
And I said, oh, I happen to be one of those guys, you know. And
I happen to be one of those. I just happen to be
one of those guys. And so I auditioned. I remember I said I would love to audition for that band. So I did. I went for it, and I think they auditioned 5 other guys. And lo and behold, I got the gig.
That's what I was going to say. That you melded with them, and you just fit right in. That's all there was to it. You had that look, you had that style, you had the fro, you had the look, the platform shoes. You had it all.
I had it all, and I was 18.
I'm 18 now.
I'm 18. I'm a legal eagle now. You know? I could walk in and show you an ID, not a napkin. You know.
You remember that clear as day.
Well, yeah, it's like, you know, when the Vice Guard walks in, you know, you got to have it together.
IDs, yeah.
But, you know, I got the gig, and for the next 5 years, I was nothing short of magnificent. We were doing, it was more of a national act. You know,
Yes.
We were doing the Whiskey in Hollywood and Chicago. And, you know, I started traveling. And
the Whiskey a Go-Go was in Hollywood, right?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, sir. Right off of Sunset Boulevard, and lots of, you know, all the big name acts. Playing in that venue, you go into the dressing room and you see on the walls everybody's scribbling their names, Mick Jagger, and, you know, everybody's autograph. It was, you know, it was just being in Hollywood at the time was really from the West Side to Hollywood. You know, it was really a huge change, you know. But the thing that I wasn't expected that happened was that Henchy and a guy named Malcolm Clark did something that was spectacular. They bought a place called the Good Earth.
Remember that? Yes, the Good Earth. Yes, yes.
And
yes.
all of a sudden, Henchy, who was, you know, Freddie and Henchy and Malcolm, were club owners, and they were able to do something that no one else was able to do in Colorado and Boulder at the time. And what that was is they got a license for 6%.
Yeah,
they were able
to
to sell liquor. So we were able to stay open till 2 o'clock.
And keep playing all night.
Because all the other venues were, Tulagi's was 3-2.
Yeah.
11:30, no band, out by 12. Tulagi's.
Chuck Morris owned Tulagi's. That's where he got to start with Barry Fay. He used to bring bands at Tulagi's to try to replicate the Good Earth kind of style too.
Well, you know what I loved about Tulagi's venue was that they were bringing in the big acts.
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
Yeah, and they would, you know.
Well, they weren't quite big yet. They were just.
They were not famous yet.
Yeah, that's it. And then he would put them in there. It's like now, and then they would go out and about and become big and famous.
Well, it reminds me of a story that when I was playing at the Good Earth one night. It was a beautiful summer night, and man, the place was jumping. Everybody looked great. Everybody was having a wonderful time. It was Saturday night, and I remember Henchy said to me, "Hey, get your stuff because the band from Tulagi's is doing the last set."
Oh, up on at the Good Earth.
At the Good Earth, and I went, "What?
Gotta move your shit."
What? No, well, it's like, what do you mean? And I goes, "Well, yeah, we're going to let them do the last set." And I said, "Well, who are these guys?"
Yeah, so yeah, you did.
And he goes, "Well, they're from Scotland." So I went, "Oh my God!" And I was thinking bagpipes.
You think it was the?
Yeah, I was like, "What are you thinking?" You know. So here we got an R&B club and it's jamming and it's packed and you bring out, I said, and then the name of the band really threw me for a loop. I said, well, what's the name of the band? And they said, they're called the Average White Band. And I went, we're putting an average white band on the stage? You've got to be kidding.
Man, they could jam.
Oh, that was the first time I ever heard of them and saw them, and you know, and the first thing I looked, and I was, oh, great guys.
Yeah, you thought they were just going to be an average white band, right?
An average white band, but they came in with bagpipes and they came in, Hamish Stewart and Alan and those guys, they came into the back.
Man, they had that groove of a good R&B sound, yet they were white.
You know, but when I saw them at the Good Earth, and I was there, and they're kicking it off, 1, 2, 3, 4, and all of a sudden, ba-ba-da-ba, ba-ba-da-ba, ba-ba-da-ba-ba, pick up the pieces. I was like, whoa, man, the crowd went nuts. You know, they were doing, and that's what was so
A love of my own.
Love of my own.
And
I got work to do.
I got work to do. So much work.
Schoolgirl Crush.
They just came out with them all.
They just got their album. They were just starting.
Yeah.
And they were just getting known in
the U.S. actually.
The U.S. And oh my God, you know, they were such nice guys. But that was just one of the stories. You know, they brought in my hero, Graham Central Station.
Oh, remember them?
Yeah.
God, they had that one super hit. What was it? Man, that was good.
Well, Larry Graham, once again, my hero. One of them, he was with Sly and the Family Stone.
Yeah.
For a long time. And so when they came in, he came in Chocolate and Herschel Happiness, and all these guys came in, and they came in, just killing it. And you know, everybody that they were bringing in, and it was a blessing for us because Tlagi's was a 3-2, so all these bands, Toots and Mayo.
They were leaving because it's too early.
It's too early. At 12 o'clock, they were at the Good Earth.
Yeah.
The whole entourage. And then, what even made it more spectacular was Caribou Ranch had just established their situation.
Their studio was brand new and everything.
Brand new studio up in Netherlands, which is really close to Boulder. So
up the street there.
Boom. Chicago. Three Dog Night, Elton John, all these people. I mean, all the guys from Chicago.
Yeah, coming right through there. It's like
hanging out at the bar, you know. And it was just a very magical time because everybody that was out there was someone, and they were just becoming famous.
Yes.
You know.
And that's what we talked about, coming through there, because I know Chuck Morris, he went on to the Phaline Presents. He was running Tlagi's. And so he had his connections, you know.
Yes.
And so he was pushing a lot of that through.
You know, they were Colorado legends of bringing in the who's who and the zoo, you know, and all the stars that were just becoming who they were. Of course, they had to keep working. They were coming through Colorado, and for some reason they were getting booked in Tlagi's. But Malcolm and Henchy actually brought in a couple of really nice acts too. I remember they brought in Eddie Kendricks and the Young Senators.
Remember Eddie Kendricks? Yeah, he had that Keep On Truckin'.
Keep on trucking me.
Yeah.
They did Eddie Kendricks and the Young Senators were great band. They're from D.C.
Badass.
Badass.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, there was really magical times to witness all these players that were just becoming who they were. I remember back then. There was a band called the Dirty Dozen. Do you remember from the East Side?
Yes. You're from the East Side.
The East Side.
You're talking about the West Side.
The East Side. The East Side, the Dirty Dozen, but
they were really good.
Philip Bailey and those guys. That was before Earth, Wind and Fire.
Yes, and they were doing the. They were at the Bowl too. They were packing it out at the Bowl. It was Philip Bailey, Larry Dunn, Andrew Woolfolk, Daryl Woolfolk on drums.
Yeah, all these Denver guys, man, who all of a sudden disappeared and went to California. What happened to them? You know,
became Earth, Wind and Fire.
Became Earth, Wind and Fire, and that's what was so magical about that time frame is a lot of my friends. Tommy Bolin was hanging around a lot at the Good Earth. You know, I got a chance.
He was such a monster at that guitar and stuff.
He was, he was a legend, another rock and roll legend. So Tommy was hanging out at the Good Earth. He'd come and sit in with Freddie Henchy and his whole.
How did you like that? just being able to play with that kind of a talent?
Well, it was nothing short of magnificent, but you got to remember then they were just becoming famous.
It was brand new.
So being on stage with Tommy at the Good Earth in those places, you weren't really. They were just your friends.
Yeah. They were just your friends.
They were just your friends going, "Hey, Tommy, come on up and play." Okay, and he pokes my brother on the guitar and hand him a guitar. Next thing you know, Tommy's jamming. And
Did Tommy use Eddie's guitar?
Yeah.
Oh, he'd just get on his guitar.
Well, yeah, because Tommy would come in as a patron, and have a few drinks and a few laughs, and then we're like, the next thing you know, Tommy was like totally always tapping him on the shoulder, saying, "Come on, give me the guitar." So, guys like Tommy had Tommy Bolin and friends, and then he had Stanley Shelton was their bass player, Tommy's bass player. And then when Tommy got the gig with the Barnstorm, to Joel Walsh's place, so he left Zephyr, and I asked Stanley Shelton, so what are you going to do now? And I said, since Tommy's going with, he goes, well, Tommy hooked me up with this guy from Humble Pie. I'm going to go play with them.
Wow.
Oh man, good luck with that. You know who that was? Peter Frampton.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, you don't know where it's going, It's like
you don't know where it's going. He goes, I'm going to go with this guy from Humble Pie, and I was like, way to go, Stan. At least he got a gig,
I got a gig, and
and here I am, Next thing you know, he's Peter Frampton live, Guinness Book of Records. And then another guy that came out of nowhere. Well, he had a band called the Ducks, D-U-X, and man, he just it was unbelievable. What a career he had, and I'm blanking on his name right now. I don't even.
And that's okay. It always comes back because there's so many.
Yeah.
There's so many people that it's hard to remember every individual that's out there that you've come across.
Oh,
Rocky.
how can I forget his name? Kenny Passarelli.
There we go. See, it's just
Kenny was hanging around, just got, and next thing you know, he hooks up with Elton John. He goes to the Caribou Ranch, and that's the last you've seen of him.
And he was off with.
And once again, they were just becoming who they were.
That's right. And that's back then. And see, I think they sold off the Caribou Ranch and all the pieces. I know you've heard about that.
Yeah.
I don't know why they did that. They should have made it like a museum or something. Well, you can go visit.
It was a magnificent place to make albums and the
up in the.
I remember Chicago invited us to see their special. It was on Dick Clark's special. It was called Meanwhile Back at the Ranch, and we were able to watch them playing concert live. It was a real intimate setting, and I actually even have videos.
Footage,
but I was just in the audience enjoying the heck out of it.
You still got to be there.
I still
it's
got to be there.
It's an experience, Rocky. You'll take with you to your grave, bro.
To the last days, but to the last breath. That's why, now at this age, we're at point in my life, I have so many memories. So, not even knowing what we were going to talk about today, there was a lot to talk about.
No, there was, and we know that it's been like this. When you were the first guest on our show, just so you guys know, Rocky Duarte was our first guest at KUHS many years ago, and so we've been at this like 13 years. 8 years into it, we had Rocky 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Almost 9, actually.
Yeah.
We brought you, I said, Rocky, I'm doing these shows. I just want to get it started. And ever since then, like I told you, 1,600 interviews since then with all these variables. It's just been remarkable. And you started out, you says, I'm going to be your domino effect, dude. Push him over there. It's been incredible how many people come into this station.
I am so happy and so proud that you're my friend and to watch you grow into the.
I never thought I'd get to this extent.
Well, I knew you when you were just gee whiz computers.
Yeah, knee-high to a grasshopper. Right?
Yeah, and we were. I was just starting the property management gig that I do, which I still do because you have to pay the bills. One thing about playing music is like you make music, you don't make a lot of money, but a lot of some people do.
If that's for me, I'm not here.
Oh, I thought I turned my phone off. I'm sorry, but the fact that
you said you have to pay the bills. And you're still with the property
I got all through the '70s, I was like working. I had a couple of stints. After I left Freddie Lynch, I hooked up with this guy named Neftali Santiago, who.
No, I got to see that show. I remember you guys put it together and you did a show in Boulder, and I was on the program
Do you remember
console.
that?
I was on the program console.
Oh, that's right.
My friend, she
Arturo
was
production.
Yeah, and
Okay.
she was with us. It was two girls that ran the thing. She came to us. We all put it together, got you guys into the UMC ballroom. It was so good.
Yeah.
Neftali, as a drummer, I've never seen a drummer so pronounced.
Yeah,
He could go up there and just entertain you drumming. It's like,
Well, in case you don't know who Neftali was, he came from a band called Mandrill. Some of you might remember Mandrill. If not, look them up. There was the Panamanian Brothers from New York, and they had hits like Fence Walk and
all the good stuff.
all the good old school stuff. And when we finished that gig that we were talking about, we went out to I went to California with them.
Wow.
And I spent the summer there. We were really pitching hard this song to try to get on Capitol Records, and it ended up getting on there. But after the band broke up.
Oh shit! That always happens.
That always
you
happens.
Get it going,
We spent the whole summer there.
and you get
then
the contract. You go in there, you sign, you're ready to go, and it's like the band breaks up.
the guy that was sponsoring us throughout that duration, that kind of ended. So when the funds ended, then I found myself in Los Angeles saying, well, what do I do now? So I hooked up with this agency and I said, I need work. Give me some gigs. And he goes, well, I got two gigs for you. One would be a band called The Heroes, but that's in Baltimore, Maryland.
So
And I went
all the way to the
no,
other side of
no,
the
I
United States.
didn't want to take that one. And the other one was with a guy named his last name was Domingo Samunio. Domingo Samunio. And I was like, who's this? Who's this guy? Domingo Samunio. And he goes, well, you'll do 2 weeks in Utah, Salt Lake, and then a week and then you'll finish the gig. I said, well, what's the name of his band? He goes, he's got a couple of hits. His name is Sam, the Sham, and the Pharaohs. And it was like, oh, I've heard
Remember
of them.
that? Yeah.
I remember Sam the Sham. He goes, well, it will be just 3 weeks,
Yeah.
So, and I left Los Angeles and I drove to Salt Lake City and hooked up with Hey There, Little Red Riding Hood. And I on stage.
That's funny, you remember? Boole, 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 boole.
Watch it now, watch it. And
Wow. Yeah, that's
So my 3 weeks, I was a Pharaoh for 3 weeks
That was
there,
a Pharaoh.
and in
That's pretty
in
good
Utah.
stuff.
And then I took that gig because for one of the Sam the Sham and the Pharaoh gig was kind of fun, and then I was able to get back to Colorado.
You said, yeah, swing out of Utah this way.
Yeah, so I shot back to Colorado and I went back to Boulder, and that's when I hooked up with my friends who I've known for through Candy Gibbons and David Gibbons and Zephyr.
And that's the Zephyr thing. You brought some of the music here, and I was trying to find it, and it's in my library there. I was trying to bring up. You brought Zephyr to me, a little clip, and I was gonna play, but that's okay. I like just listening to this. This is great stuff.
Well, yeah, it's it's what happened, and why my career was great. But I didn't get rich or famous, but I had a really good. I had a lot of fun.
Great. They were a sensation. They were a great group, and they were getting popular.
Well, they were popular when because Tommy Bolin and Zephyr they had Sunset Ride album,
Yeah.
and they were pretty well established. So when Tommy left for Deep Purple and to play with them, Zephyr, David Gibbons was the bass player, and he switched over to guitar.
That's crazy. Yeah, that was really
and
interesting.
that was like really bizarre because I just known David as a fantastic bass player.
Yes.
But then he goes, Rocky, we want you to play with us and be in Zephyr. And I said, well, two bass players? And he said, no, I play guitar.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, wow.
Was that hot?
He
Yeah.
was a great guitar player. I was like, that's amazing, because I learned a lot of stuff from Tommy, man.
Yeah.
But the star of the show was Candy
Yeah.
Evans,
And see, too bad of what happened to her. Rest in peace, But
Yeah.
it was going good for you guys. I remember that.
Well, what I loved about them, the venues, you know, the concerts and stuff like that. So we just didn't play little gigs.
You played the opening up and the bigger gigs, and you being the headliners and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it was like all of a sudden I found myself in another venue that was destined to be Colorado legends.
Yeah, this is what's so cool. You know, you go to all these places, you've been to all these areas, and that's why I want to showcase Rocky for you guys for your Thanksgiving, weekend. It's really cool. You know, it's having you here and sharing all this, history. And history is big here in Colorado. A lot of people don't know who Rocky is. A lot do, but like you were saying, we're aging, but we've got so many stories to tell.
Well, it's 2025.
We both look at this like, how do we make it this far?
How do we make it this far? Yeah, I mean, it's like, because a lot of my friends and some of my co-workers and musicians didn't.
Yeah, like the ones that were in Freddie and Henchy.
Yeah,
the keyboard
Epi
player.
And,
yes, all the cool.
Budgie and Larry Wilkins and Freddie. I mean Henchy.
Henchy left. Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah.
Freddie's still playing with
Chris Daniels
and the Kings.
And
yes.
the Kings, yeah.
And I've seen him here and there from time to time. I said hi.
Last time I saw Freddie was when we were inducted
into the Hall of Fame.
The Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do the Fred and Henchy side because they had the Fred Henchy band there, but I did hop on stage at the Mission Ballroom on the induction night with Zephyr.
Right.
And Zephyr was presented with Jock Bartley on guitar from Firefall, and myself.
And Firefall's another one that we have to even kind of touch on too, because Firefall came out of the same area.
Yeah.
And they had their hits.
Yeah.
And they were on fire.
Colorado, just remember I love you.
Yes. And then we had the Green-Eyed Lady.
Sugarloaf.
Sugarloaf also was super good. So.
Yeah, and I did get a chance to play with Bobby Azel because he was in Sugarloaf, and we were in a band. I remember doing that song with them.
Yes,
the Green-Eyed Lady.
Yeah.
Dum dum. Yeah.
It had such a that was the catch. That was the hook.
Oh, it was
amazing song.
And then the keyboard solo, man.
Yes.
But yeah, they were hits. They were hits, and they came from Colorado. And that particular time frame was
busting out a lot of people, wasn't it? It was busting out a lot of people.
Yeah, it was. Everybody was becoming who they were, And Firefall got good. Poco was another one. Poco Harum.
Mm-hmm.
But the Freddie and Henchy and the Soul Setters venue for me was what a magnificent school.
And then you guys, we always play that piece where you're in Los Angeles, and you guys, that's such a special, historic video that you guys are in Los Angeles.
Oh yeah, that was we were doing the real Don Steele show.
Yes.
And we went on with the New York Dolls on that particular.
Right.
It was that particular show was Freddie Henchy and the Soul Setters and New York Dolls, and they put on whoever's playing at the Whiskey does that show.
They go do the show, go to the Whiskey, go play the.
Yeah. And the Whiskey was really a fun venue. We played there several times, and because of the Hadley Productions. But the one time we played there, when I thought it was going to be like just incredible, was when we played there with the guys that. Oh my gosh! There's so many. I'm drawing a blank. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. That happens. It's the onset of Alzheimer's. Half the time you remember, half the time you don't.
But I have a photographic memory, but I run out of film sometimes.
I'm using that. You gave me some good stuff to get out of it.
So let me get some more film in and
get it going. Remember back in the day before they come out with these phones, everybody was taking pictures of Kodak film and cameras.
You have to like wave and let it dry.
Yeah.
That's me.
And let them dry.
Let the picture dry. Oh, okay.
Those are cool though.
Yeah.
They brought those back out for a second, and they made them little tiny pictures, and big cameras but little tiny pictures. So.
Well, now we walk around with our phones.
And they got cinematic cameras on them. Cameras that iPhone 16, a cinematic camera that takes video as good as movies.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it's like, what's up with this? The technology, like I said, even applying, like I was telling you, the technology that I apply in here, I says, Rocky, I'm just gonna go press a few buttons on that side, let those AI run it for us and produce the show, and it'll bring up all the different shots for us, and it's taking all the shots. Of course, I'm staying on one shot, so it keeps us in the frame. But how it runs everything now, and I even let you listen to a couple of them.
You were always so smart when it came to this stuff.
I don't know
I
about
mean,
that.
but back then, nobody was building computers. You were.
Yeah, yeah, that was we did this and we're still doing it. You should see the kind of stuff we do build. It would blow your mind where I go and what I do.
Well, throughout the years, he's always blew my mind. But
Yeah.
but I remember when you guys, you and your brother had Archuleta Productions.
That's where we just celebrated 50 years.
Woo!
50 years.
Congratulations.
Yes, 50 years, and it's still going. We do it on the down low.
Oh, okay.
We still do our productions, but it's all on the down low. And so we just stay behind. I know.
Don't tell anybody.
It's still going, and I celebrated it just about a month ago. 50 years.
50 years, man. You know.
50 years.
That's
when it started.
That seems to be my kind of landmark right now too.
That is
Yeah.
because you were at when we started it. You guys were at the Skunk Creek Inn, and I remember being there. And I was sitting there we were having drown night, and I was sitting there with a couple of friends of mine, and I was saying, you know what would be good? It's to start a production company, and then that's where I know Talagi's was going, and you had he became, like I said, very famous right-hand man, and now he runs AEG, and he owns the Mission Ballroom, and that's Chuck Morris.
Oh, wow, okay.
That's Chuck Morris.
What a venue.
Yeah, that's his.
Oh my God.
That owned Talagi's.
And I played there. That was one of my last gigs.
Yeah,
really, you know.
that's his.
Yeah.
The owner of Talagi's, and he runs AEG. AEG is owned by the billionaire Anschutz out of Denver. So.
Well, that explains why that venue was so
Beautiful,
spectacular.
yeah.
Beautiful. That's one of the nicest places that I was on stage. It was a great way.
You wonder, like I said, it goes a long ways, and you see all the different variables and how people have went their own ways. And he also owned Ebbets Field. Do you remember Ebbets Field?
That's the last time I saw Tommy play, and I did Ebbets Field with Zephyr too.
And that's Chuck Morris ran that.
Yes, absolutely.
And so-
Yeah, it was really.
And he was
intimate.
bringing in all kinds, intimate setting, but he brought all the big names. It's like same kind of concept as Talagi's. He would bring in Al Chicano. He would bring in, the other big name acts, and they'd be on in a smaller venue.
I remember back then we were playing Ebbets Field, and they would have we do a sound think truck.
Yes.
They record.
Mhm. I've got some of the recordings too.
Really?
Of all of Ebbets Field. I've got like 30 hours of it. So I got, I think you know this about me. I record and make history of everything.
Oh, that's.
Even our first show, I still have that. So when you first came in here, I have that. So I have everything.
Wow.
And I keep it. I keep everything on and I even put it up to the cloud, make sure I don't lose nothing.
Yeah.
Pictures, everything. I've got it all.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. You are something else, man.
But it's good to know all this stuff. Like I said, I was telling that to a few people. I got Rocky Doherty. Oh, no, you're Rocky Doherty. No. And they keep relating you to Freddie Henchy, the Freddie Henchy band.
Yeah.
Oh, they're not around no more. Well, no, he's coming in by himself, not the band or nothing.
No, yeah, I think one of the reasons why I stopped playing live is because it kind
Oh
of.
yeah, let's go over that. We talked about that, about sitting back. Everybody comes to a point in their life that you go do a lot of, clubs and stuff like that. That gets old because it's changed so much. It's not like it used to be,
It's really changed, and now, a lot of the magnificent musicians that are on now, they don't remember what
Places.
happened back then.
Yeah.
So that put me in a situation. If you don't know me, then I have to audition for you. It's like so. Here I am.
I like the way you put it. Then I have to audition for you. Who are you? You're Philip Bailey. You got to show us how you sing first. That's more or less what it's like. Yeah.
Well, it came down to that because a lot of the younger guys who are kicking serious butt now, playing live, or much younger, you know.
Yeah.
So you know, I just kind of felt like if I'm a little bit out of that venue now, you
Yeah.
know, and let them take over. The last band I was in, I was just a band that I just did on this for a summer, and that was the Nacho Man.
Yeah, I remember that. That was cool though.
You know,
It worked
I
out.
really enjoyed playing with them.
They were
you know,
fun. They put on a good show.
They put on a really good show. They're very theatrical.
Yeah.
You know, besides being good musicians,
I remember you went with. I had asked you, and you says, "I'm with the Nacho Man." Nacho Man. I looked at Nacho Man, and it fit you, but it didn't because you were more the funk,
you know,
show group kind
yeah,
of thing.
I was just like I accepted that gig, you know, because it was temporary,
Yeah.
and they also said that some of the venues they're playing were really fun, you know, like
Yeah.
Dylan,
Yeah.
and a lot of the places that, and
They were fun.
They
Yeah.
were fun,
Yeah.
but I remember doing a gig, and it was 1:30 in the morning, 10 degrees outside, and at my age you're slipping. I'm going, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. I'm freezing my butt out.
I'm sorry, but I'm fucking cold.
I'm so cold. And I just want to go to bed. And that's how I started feeling after the gigs.
But it's fun, Rocky. You got to really look at it. You know, now there was a point in time, and if you don't mind me touching on, just kind of touch. You were dealing with your mom, and she passed away.
Yeah.
And I was watching you go through that, and I said, man, I know what he's enduring. I know what he's going through because some people don't, unless you're in that, you can talk. Oh, sorry if there's anything. Unless you're in that position at that point in time with your mother or whatever, taking care of your mom or doing anything, you don't know what it's like.
No, and
A lot of people don't understand it.
No, and unfortunately, for everybody who has their parents right now, love them, love them, love them, love them.
Yeah.
Because eventually, when you get older, something like that
Goes down. Yeah,
goes
and
down.
and then especially if you're doing caregiving, and a lot of people do
Yeah.
caregiving, and if you're taking care in any way, whether it be a lot, a little bit, or just some, and then the final end, and to, you know, set up the services, all that is so trying.
Yeah,
But it touches on you, you know.
we had a nice celebration of life for her, and things, you know, and it worked out. Everything worked out good. You know, where I really stopped playing, everyone else did too, was during the pandemic.
That was crazy. Let's talk about that, you know, because
Okay.
you know, a lot of people, they were so creative in what they were doing. They were going into the studio and live streaming. So everybody went to live stream. That's why our live streaming was on fire.
You were on fire. You know, the pandemic
yeah.
really worked great for you.
Yeah.
And for me, I had just finished doing the shows with at the Mission Ballroom,
Yeah.
with the induction of Colorado Music Hall of Fame, and the pandemic hits.
Yes.
So then all of a sudden, everyone's shut down playing live
and
music
it killed the nightclubs. It killed a lot of the bands. It killed a lot of people.
for a year.
Even longer.
It was even longer because after that. But I have a really good friend that introduced me to the fact that he said, "Come on down to my studio in my apartment, and we'll record a song." You know,
Yeah.
that was a song that's still on Reverb Nation right now.
Yeah.
You know, Rick Gabler was the guy. He had Fine Line Productions, and he has the Roots in Boulder.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and Rick said, "Come on." And so I went to his studio, and it was like a really nice setup. And that's when I went, life after live music.
Yeah.
This is what musicians do when they stop playing live.
That's right.
Is set up your recording studio.
And start putting it
I
out.
have so much music in my life.
And I remember you had got some equipment to do this. What were you doing? I remember. What did you tell
Well,
me?
I got a nice little studio at home.
Yeah, that's
you
what
know.
you tell me. You set up some really nice
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, I mean, my DAW, which is the digital workstation.
Yeah.
You know, is Studio 1.6 professional, and I got all the software and the hardwares, the drum tracks,
So you can do all of it. So
the keyboards. I've been playing more guitar and piano than I have been playing bass. I got the mics. It's a nice little studio
Yeah.
inside my home, and it took me a while to get it set up, But
And it takes you a while to actually even use it because there's got so many options.
Dial in all the equipment that you buy and what you need to buy and what's good for you to buy, the interfaces, the softwares and the hardwares, in order to make quality CDs.
And to make it come out really
I mean,
robust, like.
a lot
And
of
I
the-
remember you sent a song, didn't you do a couple of songs? I can't remember. You sent a song. You let me listen to one song that was really, really good, and you said I'm not finished with it. It was back when, way back. It was one of
I
the.
have a lot of not finished with it songs that I start them I start them but I think maybe next year I'll,
Finish
if I
that.
ever come back and get.
You will, yeah, and then hey, we'll push them out.
I'll have some material ready because I finally got the studio kicking, and I'm really now at a point where I'm no longer building it. I can start using it. It's just a lot of fun to go home and have that in my life.
Yes.
So I don't have to worry, because when the pandemic finished and everybody started playing music again, I just said I'm going to stay here and play music.
And like you said, a lot of people were broadcasting, actually doing live streams on Facebook or TikTok or any of the other platforms, Instagram, and they would get their band in their studio and broadcast their new music right out of their studio.
Because you can't now.
Well, back then you had to. It was so funny how they did it. They told everybody, sit down, shut up, cover your mouth, and you're gonna shit your pants and no toilet paper. That's how it was. I had this outlook on it. You know what I mean? It was like, that's what it looked like. It's like, what?
It was a different world, and now some of the hits that you hear on radio are done in someone's home. That's how digital music has changed. Now the tech, you can have all. Well, look at this. Look at all this setup you have here. It's like really high tech.
Yeah, and I even got more stuff that I'm going to upgrade from out of this.
Oh my
It's sitting
God.
back there ready to go.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
And you could broadcast all over the world with this stuff like you are.
And we never were able to do that. And I even say to myself, I would think, is this real? How do I do this? And so we got like Peter Hatton in the Northern Quarter. We got Greg Rashid in Bangkok, Thailand. They all broadcast back as KUHS. The only hard part is like in the countries that are like in Bangkok, Thailand and stuff. You got to go through the government, especially with live broadcasting.
Ouch.
And so you got to fill out all this paperwork, and then it's got to be approved. And then they take it over to Vietnam, and it's got to be redone into their government, and then they either say yes or no. No politics, no religions, nothing like that. Just talk and music, and that's it. They catch you, you're out. So we have to really keep an eye on those areas. I get up real early in the morning and talk to everybody because it's 8 hours, 15-hour difference out that way.
Right.
But we stay in touch with making sure, and I even listen to some of the shows to make sure we're not talking the politics. They hate the politics over here. They cannot stand the politics over here.
Well, I don't blame them. It's pretty crazy.
It is.
2025 is going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
To say
And I bet you,
another
me and you,
story.
yeah, me and you, neither way you went, either way you would have went, it just didn't, it wasn't going to work out. And so this new, to me, it doesn't seem real. It just seems like it's all fixed.
Pretty surreal.
And you and I have lived long enough and been through so many presidents, and we've seen it all, Rocky.
Yeah.
From starting with Ford, Kennedy, Nixon.
Abraham Lincoln.
No, bro. I was just talking about Abraham Lincoln earlier to a friend. That's funny. Abraham Lincoln.
Remember when he was president?
Hell yeah.
Remember when
George Washington.
Or as bad as Keith Richards.
He used to know him.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, they're still playing.
Can you believe it? Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you gotta have, it's easy to continue playing when you get old, when you're with a band that you've been playing with for
And a
years.
superior, and yeah,
A good example is like Hot Lunch.
yeah, yeah.
All those brothers, man, Louis and those guys, they've been playing for years together, so they can still play.
And it sounds so
And
good.
still be
yeah.
themselves.
Yes.
And still kick, because they're not, well, like me, they're not having to convince somebody to hire them.
Readjust, yeah.
Readjust. They're Hot Lunch. Everybody loves them.
It's
for
this
good
chemistry
reasons.
that they get together, and the
Yeah,
chemistry.
so
is there.
they can play. They can continue playing. Well, I lost that because after the last band I was in for many years was the Vintage Rock and Soul with Coco.
Oh
Coco
yeah,
Brown and stuff,
Coco Brown.
Yeah.
She's so good at singing.
Yeah, she's with Hazel.
Yeah,
You know.
Hazel's got a great group. Jesus Christ.
That's not surprising.
Yeah, that's not surprising.
Hazel.
She always has
Yeah.
an outstanding band. And
Of course.
She always gets. She's got Coco and her, and they do I think it's something Experience. I can't remember the first part of it. Their band is on fire. It's like.
Yeah, and in Coco's, her and I made a lot of music together. 16 years. And when I came, because we hooked up late '80s and went to the '90s with Coco.
Yeah, I remember.
Well, right before that, I remember doing the Tom Slick and Hot Licks. And
Remember Tom Slick?
Yeah,
oh,
remember,
your brother. Yeah.
That's another one.
That's
I hated '50s music.
Yeah.
But he made it fun.
Yeah, because he would dress the part. Everybody would look the part, and he'd get up and do his thing.
I mean, I never.
Tom Slick.
And
tie his pants and everything about it.
He was one of the entertainers extraordinaire.
Yeah.
And he would bring everywhere we played. I did maybe a year or two with them. That place would be packed.
Because he would put on such a great show.
Great show. He had a huge following.
Yeah.
Huge following. So after I did the Tom Slick thing, that's when I hooked up with the Vintage Rock and Soul band with Joe Androvich, and we had some really good musicians, and some of them are still playing. Like Adam Ray's still playing. He's now with the Long Run, which is the tribute to the Eagles.
Oh yeah, they play around town and all
God, I
the
love that
festivals
band.
and stuff. Yeah, they're really good.
And Adam was our guitar player
Yeah.
so it's just great to see him still working.
And there's a lot of people who do the tribute bands, like you said, them for the Eagles, because I see them playing all over the place.
Paisley Park, I love those guys.
Yes, and I had him here. We did an interview with him, and he does a great job of doing that.
Oh, he's there.
But we talked about it, and he said that a lot had to do, and he's dealing with this mom thing, and so it's kind
Life.
of yes, life
Yeah.
is. But he talked about like you have to deal with females in the band. We were talking about that. He touched on that. He goes, it's so hard with them.
Yeah.
Because they're, we both know that they're vain already, and when they get on stage, it gets even worse.
Right.
And then they have a problem showing up on time.
Or not. It's funny that the watches are a little different. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like the girls like Tina Lombardi. She's hot.
There was a
Experienced.
comedian who was talking about, you look at your watch and you stop, and then you didn't memorize the time, so you look at it a second time. And then somebody asks you, what time is it? Oh, I don't know. When you still look at that's how it is, really. What time is it, Rocky? You looked at your watch, but you didn't even see the time.
No, I just wanted to make sure I knew when took it. Watch out.
Watch out. Watch out there.
So, the fact that those guys are still doing the tribute bands and stuff like that, love them. Love
Yes.
them,
Lamar and Kendrick Lamar? No, what's his name? Lamar. In the tribute band to Prince.
Oh, Philip?
Philip.
Yeah.
So he did a really good interview here too. So we went over a lot of things about what it's like, and he was strictly going of the band members and sometimes keeping them in place. Like I said, the females, because I think he has two in the band, and it's hard. Like one's hard enough.
I'll tell you, you know what? Being in a band is not easy.
Everybody
You
looks
have
at it
to
like,
do
oh, you guys.
I mean, lots of rehearsals.
And then
and
everybody has time.
Personalities, and that's why not being in a band right now has really taken out a lot of stress in my life.
You're like,
I'm actually really enjoying. I miss being on stage performing, but I don't miss
the hoopla of it all.
the hoopla. It's like it really took a lot of stress out of my life, And right now I'm enjoying just like not being stressed out, peace and quiet. You know, I'm not that guy who goes, "Hey, get off my lawn," you know.
Yeah, you are, Rocky.
But I'm, you know, but I'm, you know.
You've been hitting it pretty good with the George Washington, Abraham. You've seen all the presidents. Abraham Lincoln.
I just, you know, got to a point in my life where I'm just really enjoying the peace and quiet.
I'm so happy that you got to come in and do, talk about this again, because we wanted to present something really unique here. And just talking to like this other guy last night, he says, "Man, you're bringing in the community. You're bringing the people from the community that have all these different, rituals like yours with being in a band, and all these bands, seeing all these different musicians who have gone on to become very wealthy, have gone on to be big names, and others that have just passed on, and they could have had that chance, and you know who they were, and you say, dude, you shouldn't have been hitting the drugs, the drinking. A lot of people get hooked on this kind of a thing, especially in bands. For some reason, they think that makes them play better or something. It doesn't make you play better.
I lost so many wonderful musicians because it's just was the devil's dandruff, man. You know.
I like that. I'm using that one too. The devil's dandruff.
But you
the
know,
devil's dandruff.
Unfortunately, man,
I like that. We could make that big. It's just that saying. You into the devil's dandruff again?
Yeah, you know, we lost a lot of beautiful, wonderful musicians throughout the years, and that's why now I took to see who's actually still doing it, and I'm really proud of them, and myself, I'm really really thankful that I'm still around.
Well, these stories to share is worth so much, to us, to you, to everybody to hear.
Oh, I got so many of them, and you can't really make them up.
No, this is not made up. I mean, that's why I wanted you back here. I got so happy when I seen you. I said, "Hey, we got to do this."
I know, isn't that crazy how we ran into each other? I said to myself, "I'm going to go to the store and get a radio spot and some groceries." You know. And so
I'm going to the store to get a radio spot.
So I ran into Henry, and then I bought some groceries, so everything worked out.
No, there's a couple of females that are out there that I'd like to talk about too. That I don't know if you remember Tina Navarro, singer.
I certainly do, yeah.
And she passed. I don't know if you knew she passed away.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Yes.
So there's a couple, and then there's another one, Stephanie Manzanares, and she was with a couple of bands in Denver, and she's really near the end too, and a lot of people know her, and so there's been all these variables that have been going on with all these musicians, the female vocalists that are going. I mean, Tina was so good, she used to jam out all the time.
Everybody, it amazed me, not only here in Colorado, but when I traveled the country and was watching so many other musicians play, it really, really, really blew my mind how many fantastic musicians there are out there.
Yes.
I mean, I would say jaw-dropping. Here at a club, I would go to living in Dallas, go to different venues in different cities, and I was like, God, those guys are, and you'll never know who they are.
That's right.
You'll never
because they don't go to the path of the stardom, right?
No, I mean it's like sometimes you have to be at the right place at the right time to make it really, really big, or go to a Diddy party or something.
Oh my God!
Who knows? Whatever it
the
takes.
Diddy party.
I mean, to make it big. I mean, there's so many musicians that I saw that were like, man, that guy, he's going to be famous, and you never seen him again.
Yes.
And
then those that you don't think become famous are just hit it big time. They become famous worldwide.
Yeah, when there was a band that when I did the Las Vegas circuit, there was a guy that I thought he would be. His name is Cedro's Armada. Yeah. And some of you might not know who, of course, some of you won't. But he was like the Freddie and Hinchy of Las Vegas. Yeah. Really popular. And I could have swore those guys were going to make it big, and they didn't. Because, and it just blows my mind how many fantastic musicians are out there that you'll never hear.
Right. And there's this one group out of New Mexico, and they always play Vegas, and they have a horn section. And they do their own music as well as renditions of songs like Earth, Wind and Fire, Tower of Power, because they got the 5-piece
What were
horn
they
section.
called?
I can't remember. I was trying to think as we were talking of what they're called. Can't remember their name right offhand.
Yeah.
But like that's the problem. I always said to myself, it's their name
Right.
that isn't catchy. And so, but they're popular, and they always play Vegas and they play all over. But they've got this
Santa Fe.
Santa Fe.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Santa Fe horns.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, that's
back
it.
to
The Santa Fe
horn.
Yeah, it's the Santa Fe horns.
Yeah.
Horns something.
The Vegas circuit was fun. I did Vegas, Reno, Tahoe, Carson City, the Nevada circuit.
Yeah.
And that's a completely different. Because I remember
different role.
We would do the 3 o'clock shows.
Yeah.
There. I mean, at 3 o'clock is when you would go on stage and they'd be packed. And everybody, we do the 9 o'clock, the 11 o'clock, and the 3 o'clock shows. The 3 o'clock shows are the most fun because that's when all the other musicians from they finish their gigs.
And they're in there watching.
So the next thing you know, you got Gladys Knight's entourage and Ben Vereen's entourage and Wayne Newton's entourage, and they're there partying, and they're going to doing the 3 o'clock from 3 to 4:30, something like that. That was Vegas back then.
No, they've got Santana. He does a lot of stuff there, and we've had Andy Vargas, their singer, in here.
Mm-hmm.
And I ask everybody, do you know who the singer is of Santana? No. But they know Santana.
Yeah.
You see, that's the thing.
And what's his name?
His name's Andy Vargas.
Andy Vargas.
And he comes in, he's been to our studio about 2 times. So he's even done the remotes because of the COVID. So we did the remotes and stuff. And, nobody knows him, but he goes on stage, he's badass,
Who was the gal that sang with him? Rochelle?
Well, he married one lady, got rid of one.
The drummer.
Yeah, the drummer, she's the drummer of the
Yeah.
Santana band. Well, he had a problem about maybe 6 months ago, had a mild heart attack.
Really?
He had to step off stage, cancel some of the concerts, take care of that, and then he came back. That's from excessive touring all over the world, it's like.
Plus, he's up in age because I know that he's older than me.
Yeah, 78 or 79.
Yeah, see, and when you're still traveling the world like that, that's what happens when you become big. Because you'll never stop.
Yeah, because they'll pay the price,
Yeah,
they'll pay the
you'll
price.
be 85 years old and playing Europa, man.
Rocky, no, bro. He'll be 85 playing Europa. But it's true. It's true. That was cool. That works.
It's so much fun. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you letting me come in.
Yeah, and it's nice. I mean, we're already done in hours, and that's what we scheduled you for. So we're right about that point. So if there's anybody you want to say hello to, welcome to do it. And your brother Eddie or anybody that
my brother Eddie for sure. He's doing really well, and I see him quite often, talk to him. There's so many friends and musicians out there that I really miss.
Yeah.
And I want to say hi to them. And I can't, I'm not going to go with names, but one thing about when you change your life, when you start looking at life that, you have more years behind you than you do in front of you.
Yeah.
So the decisions you're making with what you want to do have to be made
right away.
Right away. So, I'm the peace and the quiet and the simple life, which I'm really, really, really enjoying. It comes with one price, and that's where you kind of lose friends.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see
everybody.
You kind of lost track of a lot of people that were close to you, and that's what happened to me. So if I haven't seen you for a long time and you happen to be watching, I still love you, man. I'm glad that you're still alive, and because
that's where we're at.
That's kind of where we're at.
I call it the 4th quarter of life.
Yeah, that's a good one. The winter. I call it the winter of life. I'm definitely there. Like I said, when you get to the point when you have more life behind you than you have in front of you, then your decisions need to be made wisely. And right now, I can only say that I'm not really relevant playing live music, but I'm still playing music and enjoying my life. And that's the main thing that you can do when you get to the point where we're at right now.
And I want to tell you something. I'm going to be run through a second time. I'm going to do this all over again. I'm not changing a thing.
Really? Got it.
Took a second.
That took a second. So you could, because you surprised me. You could do just about anything.
I'm coming through a second time. I'm not gonna. I love this. It's
Yeah.
been fun. Just like what you were saying about all the bands and musicians. I'm glad you joined us today on a KUHS Entertainment Special with Rocky Jorty. And we do these special shows, and they're not planned. They're created, especially for you, Rocky, because you're somebody special in the community. Somebody who's been around, who could share all these beautiful stories with everybody, including you, our audience, and all around the planet as we've been watching from Mexico to Bondaquillo to Santo Domingo, all over the planet, Los Angeles, New York, Boston, Texas, New Mexico, all over the place. Thanks for joining us, and Rocky, thanks for coming in and doing this Thanksgiving special that we brought to you, and exclusively brought to you by KUHS Radio TV Entertainment's Presents. Bye now.